This is the beginning of the video, which is the end of the last video because I forgot to include these pictures. This is from O'Bannon Woods State Park where I camped for the night. These were taken the day before this day. That's the path I walked down behind there. This is my setup. You can even see my video camera on the table there. And that is the campfire before it was lit. Welcome to Two Oceans Day 25. This episode is called Kentucky Bound. But first, the road so far. Now leaving O'Bannon Woods State Park, Harrison County, Indiana. And I stopped to take pictures of this cemetery, but I just looked online and could find nothing about it. For some reason, all information is, you can't find it. There's nothing. Monday, August 5th, 2019. Now on Route 62, where I was yesterday. Yet another day of beautiful weather, which is the way it was most of the trip. The next 2 days actually are a different story. Corydon, Indiana. I did a lot of, we're on the Interstate 64 East right now, but between this moment and when I get back on the interstate later in the video, I spent most of the day zigzagging on on other highways because I knew I was going to be home soon, and I just sort of wanted to get off of the interstate for a bit and see the towns and communities and so on. In the landscape, whatever, rather than this this rat race called the interstate. Now crossing the Ohio River into Kentucky, so we are at the border. We're now dive bombing into the border. In Louisville, there is the bridge. Sherman-Minton Bridge. I'm crossing to get into Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky. There's the skyline, nice shot of the skyline. Cochrane Hill Tunnel.
Way out on the sea, oh, carry my loved one home safely to me. He sailed at the dawning, all day I've been blue. Red sails in the sunset, I'm trusting in you. With the wings you must borrow, make straight for the shore. We marry tomorrow, and he goes sailing no more. Red sails in the sunset.
Shelbyville, Kentucky. And I believe I went through Shelbyville on the way west. And here I am passing through it again, a different section, I believe, though. East 60. And I think I follow 60 for a while and end up in the Kentucky Capitol, which I found out later on Google. I had no idea I was there. All I knew was I was heading northeast to get home. But that's how I like to travel.
Way out on the sea, oh, carry my loved one home safely to me.
I look at it this way. If you know where you're going, it's traveling. If you don't know, then it's an adventure. I did this for the clouds. I left this in. You can see the clouds rolling.
Make straight for the shore. We marry tomorrow, and he goes sailing no more.
Crossing the Kentucky River. Directly behind me and back 7 blocks is the Kentucky State Capitol building, which, as I say, I discovered by tracing my steps on Google, and then all of a sudden I saw this section of town that said State Capitol building. I'm like, oh, look at that. I could have said hello to the governor, but I had things to do. Frankfort, Kentucky.
Red sails in the sunset, way out on the sea. Oh, carry my loved one.
Still on East 60. Now, I'm not reading all this stuff because you can't read it. I'm reading it because the reason I put that stuff in there is so that I would remember to mention it or keep track of it myself. So half the time when I'll read you something, it's just a personal note to myself, because there's no way I would remember all these different routes and everything just from watching the film again. Hours and hundreds of hours of a time lapse I've watched putting this series together. My God, it's insane. Woodford County, Kentucky. If I'm not mistaken, after I planted myself for the night, the next day is when, because I haven't started working on the video yet, the next day is when I decided, you know what, I'm going to try to make it home in one day. I was going to try to go through Ohio, and that's when the weather decided to change on me. North 4. But we'll get into that in the next video. Lexington. East 4. See, this is how I prefer to travel, actually. Route 922 is zigzagging on highways rather than the interstate. The interstate's direct and you save time, but I prefer experiencing the surroundings a little more. I mean, that's a matter of choice if you're in a hurry. Later on, as I started visiting the states, state by state rather than this cross-country run, I would end up using the interstate to get to that state. And okay, here I am back on the interstate to get to the destination state. But once I'm there, then I would prefer highways and try to do it that way. Basically, that was to save time getting to the state that I'm going to explore.
Home safely
County, Kentucky. Grayson, Kentucky. And some more clouds. I sped that up, of course, because it, even with the time lapse I had going, it wasn't that fast. Yeah, I think I just picked up my food for the night and I'm on my way to the campsite, having made arrangements moments before. Argolite, Kentucky. Kentucky Veterans Cemetery, Northeast. That I almost pulled in there because it was a driveway and I was expecting this. Ashland, Huntington, West KOA holiday. And some more clouds moving in. This, look at the beams of light you can see. Well, you could, if you're quick enough. Oh, and here I didn't show very many times me setting up my tent setup. It's simple. It's a little time consuming, but it's not. I think I got it down pretty good. Takes a while to unload. And the first thing I do is I spread out the canopy and then anchor the back, and I face into the sun in the evening so that in the morning the sun hits the back of the canopy. That way I'm not blinded while I'm having my coffee in the morning. And then I got to sit down and tape the poles. I've got a different system now. I fixed the poles. But these poles had metal anchors on them and they kept sliding. The poles would collapse. So I had to tape them up and then take the tape off in the morning. So that was a time-consuming bit that I managed to eliminate in later journeys. But this time it's pretty simple. 2 tie downs in front because it was not windy. If it's windy, I have to add tie downs. And here is the cot. Set it up and then push it under. And there it is, ready for the night. I just got to plug in my coffee now. Have something to eat. And all my loose equipment I put in the other tarp that you see there on the ground. And I pull it up around it and tie it off to keep the rain out. It's a lesson I learned. But inevitably, every trip, there's always a day that I forget to close things up and it rains. Oh yeah, a little amphitheater with stage and everything built in. I was right near that. Like the fire pit. Doesn't look like it's been used lately, but it's right there. And that's from that spot I took that picture. And there's the rest of the slope. So I was on a hill there. There's my coffee setup. Oh, this cat was across the street at a shed, desperately trying to get to something. And of course, it could have been imaginary the way cats are. But I think he was quite young. I couldn't help. I took a couple pictures there. And there I am relaxing while the camera was still running. I believe that's about it. Thank you for watching. Please like and please subscribe. And that's all, folks.